Hey everyone, my name is Shafer. I'm a mom, a physician, a life and wellness coach, a musician, writer, publisher, producer, and a lover of life, food, and growth. And I'm here on my podcast, We Don't Tell Our Stories. Once again, trying to use my experience, my stories to reach out to anyone who they may be helpful for on your journey, or even if it just inspires you to be vulnerable, to pick up the phone and call the friend that you know you could talk to, but for whatever reason you've been hesitant to or second guessing yourself, to journal about what's going on in a safe way, just in case there's any reason you'd be concerned about anyone accessing that information, to record videos, again, make sure they're safe. If they have any sensitive information you wouldn't want anyone in your orbit to have. But, just to put yourself out there in the tiniest way, even if it's just smiling at someone else when maybe you've been keeping your head down lately for whatever reason. I just really hope that we can all create a space to hear one another and inspire one another by sharing our stories of the small and big challenges we're facing, to hopefully make it just a little bit easier for someone else to see the true community that we live in. I think we in our culture have gotten really caught up in the presentation of it all, of the theater of it all. Now, I love theater as much as anyone else. It's a beautiful escape, but it was never meant to be more than that. You go and you put on your makeup and your outfit, you practice your lines, and with your theater community, you go up on that stage and you do the show. And the amazing thing about real life theater is it usually involves mistakes. Things don't go the way that you or the director or the techs planned. And those mistakes actually often bring the most interesting, fun, funny, memorable parts to that day's performance. And they bring joy to the cast and the crew when they think back on some of the really funny things that happened. And then they also really band together and reward one another for their ingenuity in these moments where they have to really be on their feet, so to speak, and just go with the flow and figure it out. And it's those moments in life where we have to figure it out, where we have to respond to either our own mistake or the mistake of someone else and create something with it that allows us to try to flow. Those are the most amazing moments in life. And when you think back on your life and the funny stories that you and your family or you and your friends have, I would wager a bet that many, if not all of those moments are about those times when something difficult or funny happened, and the way that you and your friends or family or love or teachers or whoever reacted to it are the things that made that moment so special to you. A friend of mine who recently passed away, who is just such a dear, wonderful person to me and my family, I got to know some of her longtime friends in the year before her passing that I would not have otherwise had the great privilege and pleasure to have had in my life. And they shared around the dinner table one evening with me, this group of 4 friends, how one of them was a chef, a professional chef. Oh my goodness, more delicious food you will never have than what he creates and serves. And they were on a trip in Ireland, and they were all there together as couples, and he was cooking and using a blender, and the blender caught on fire because I believe it was a US type blender, so it didn't have the same wattage conversion, and it caught on fire. And so here it is, this professional chef trying to do something as simple as use a blender in his friend's home overseas, and he catches it on fire. But the joy with which this group of longtime friends told this story, and the laughter and the tears in the eyes, and, you know, in part, it was so beautiful and funny because, you know, he had to be really vulnerable to laugh about this. And he was, and that's one really beautiful thing about this person. He is such a kind, vulnerable man. And it just emanates from him, and it's infectious. And it really made all of us women, because he was the only man at the table, it made us all feel just so safe and just so able to laugh at this story, laugh all together. And it was just such a beautiful example to me of how these little things happen that maybe could be a disaster, could have burned down the house, but instead they remember it as, oh my goodness, that was so funny. And when she was, you know, in the end stages of her life and she was dying, that's the story they were telling around the table when they were enjoying what they understood to likely be one of the last times that they were all together, and they wanted to remember that. So I am just on a quest in my own life, and as I'm raising small children, to really embrace this concept and belief of our failures, our mistakes are the things that happen when we're living. And if you are presenting yourself as if you're not making mistakes, you're not living. And even in a dramatic setting like in the theater, the mistakes are what makes it even more special. And then those people go home to their lives. And again, the mistakes are the things that they're talking about and that they're remembering, and how they and their colleagues pulled through it. Even with a movie where it's cost $50 million, what are they going to do at the end? They're going to show the blooper reel, and people are going to be more engaged with the cast and the crew during those 2 minutes of bloopers than they were during the entire film, because of the humanity that they get to witness. And they see this person that seemed so polished and perfect and unreachable before being human. And when we allow people to see our vulnerabilities, to see our perceived imperfections and failures, we allow them to see that we're human. And in fact, I think most of us see those people as incredibly strong, and we aspire to be like them, because it takes such strength to be that vulnerable and to show the truth of what it's like to be human. It's easier in the short term to say, I'm fine, everything's great, work's fine, everything's great. It's much harder to say, gosh, you know, we're really seeing some challenges right now. Yeah, it is. Here's the challenge. Yeah, that's really tough. You know what, though? Maggie's got a great solution. I'm really excited to see where we can go with that. That's a good possibility to deal with this issue. And in the meantime, we've got each other. We'll get through this. You know, that is a much, much more interesting story than I'm fine, everything's great. Everything's great. So as you're contemplating your interactions with people that, you know, you feel safe to open up a bit to, you know, maybe in a safe space, practice those small acts of bravery and vulnerability to even just prove to yourself that it is brave, and that more often than not, you're going to form a deeper connection with some honesty, and by offering what you perceive as a challenge you're facing, being humble about it, and then taking it a step further and thinking, gosh, what are the possibilities? Or like, gosh, have you ever been in something like this? What did you do? and engaging the person to say, gosh, could you share some of your wisdom, your life experience with me, or your life experience with me? And just connect with them on such a human way. And anytime you bring curiosity, I mean, vulnerability and curiosity, if you can combine those in an interaction, that opportunity for connection is going to be undeniable, and it's going to be a memorable encounter. Because how often after we exit a certain point of our lives, and, elementary, high school, college, how often are people really that curious with us? And how often are we really that curious with other people? And life without curiosity and engagement, it's just pale colors. And we want to live a full, enriching, real, colorful life. So I hope this inspires you to try to be vulnerable again in a small way. Just be brave and be willing to be human and not be just a makeup character or figure in your life. Because you don't want to be stuck in some pages. You want to be in living color and out there and engaging with people and finding the people who really enrich you. And you won't find them just nodding, smiling, and being a perfect copy of everyone else. You won't find your place in life and your people in this life. So I want to thank you for allowing me to be someone in your life and sharing this time with me. I would love for you to share your thoughts. I would love for you to share any podcasts or reading material, articles, Facebook groups, anything that you have come across that you feel has inspired you to be more vulnerable or has helped you figure out, okay, this person, this group is telling me to be more vulnerable. How do I make that an actionable thing? How do I take action in my life with that practice? How do I make it a part of my life? So please share your tools with me. And I just so appreciate your time. And I can't wait to talk to you all again soon. Take care.